1 o'clock a.m., Orange County, California, Satellite Studio. 1:30 a.m., San Diego, California, Satellite Studio. Stay tuned for more exciting programs only here on INCRadio.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
And good morning. Welcome to INCRadio, Florida. I'm Brother Jim here in sunny Pensacola. And I'm saying that as a surprise because it started out a little gloomy this morning, but it's gotten sunny. And frankly, I think it's gotten sunny because of our topic coming up, which is going to be about the beach day. And of course, you got to have that sunshine for the beach day. But before we start off, the time here is 11:05 a.m. Central Time, which is 12:05 p.m. In the Eastern Time, and of course 12:05 a.m. in the Philippines. And we've got, like I said, a great show lined up for you all. But before we get into it, we certainly want to thank all of you for joining us. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, maganda gabi, bonjour. We love to see where you're watching from. That means so much to us because, this is an international show. And we're all across the YouTube, all across INCRadio. And we love to know that we're being watched and enjoyed. So please tell us where you're watching from. And of course, to have a show like this, we have to acknowledge all the wonderful people that make it happen. And for that, I'm going to go across town. By the way, this is going to be the Pensacola show today. And I'm going to do Sister Cherise right across town. How you doing this morning, Sister Cherise?
Good morning, everyone. I am doing so wonderful this morning. Thank you, Brother Jim. Yes, indeed. It is the INCRadio Pensacola show this morning because it is just me and Brother Jim who are representing our amazing district here in Florida. But before we get started, we always want to share our acknowledgments and our greetings to the wonderful, amazing brethren who are able to allow us to do this show today. First and foremost, thank you so much, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our executive minister, Brother Angelo Iranio Manalo, our SEBC CEO and CFO coordinator, Brother Arnel Solano, our station manager, Brother Manly Andaya, our executive producer, Brother Marlon Balasan, our district minister, Brother Carlitos Medina, our assistant district minister, and Brother Mark Bernal, our CFO overseer, and of course, all the way in the Philippines, who's staying up with us late this morning, but who's always does an amazing job. Our Kuya Tech, thank you so much for everything that you do and for allowing us to be able to have this show and to reach all of our brethren all over. We're just so excited. But before we actually get started, we want to go ahead and let you know a few ways to stay connected with us. If you're just tuning in, if you've never, seen our INCRadio show, ways to stay connected is www.iglesianicristo.net/INCRadio. Make sure you YouTube search INCRadio, click on the Live Now button, or you can download the official INCRadio mobile app for your Android and iOS devices. I have it on my phone. I hope you all have it on yours. That way you can always stay connected with us because we love our viewers. Me and Brother Jim were talking earlier. This is literally something we look forward to every Saturday, is tuning in, not just to be able to talk with our Brother Rob and Sister Audrey and Sister Joy and Sister Marcel, but we just love to be able to tune in with all of our viewers everywhere because this is something that we look forward to and we are just really, really excited and privileged to be able to be a part of. So just thank you so much for tuning in this morning or this afternoon. And we really hope you're excited because we are going to teach you all how to do the right way to beach day. And I think me and Brother Jim, since we live in Pensacola, I feel like we are, we kind of know what we're talking about when we say how to beach day.
Sister Cherise, we absolutely know what we're talking about. And, because this is the Pensacola show, let's just say it. Pensacola has the best beach in the state, right? We
It's
have
beautiful. It
it.
is beautiful. It's
We're,
like white sands. And I just want to tell our viewers, I used to live, me and brother Eric, we used to live in Virginia, and we visited here about almost 10 years ago now. You know, we were visiting some friends, and the first thing they did was took us to the beach, and it was love at first sight. I was like, this is where you live? And they were like, this is our beach. I was like, I've never been to Hawaii. I know you guys have. Is this nice? They were like, it's better. It's better. And so, me and brother Eric, we were like, you know what? We're moving. And so look at us now. We're living in a beautiful city where it's just so friendly, and we live where people go to vacation. So we are just really, really lucky. And just why we want to share with you all that if you're planning on any type of beach day here in Pensacola or anywhere along the beautiful Gulf Coast of Florida, here are some tips and tricks to be able to make the most out of your beach days.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we'll just dive right in. We'll get into the first slide. And let me see. All right. Very good. All right. Now being a local, one of the things that we try to have, and I know Sister Sharice, you probably do too, we keep what we call, it's our beach bag. And this is
Oh
the
my
beach
gosh.
bag. Yeah. You have a dedicated beach bag. And
Yes.
because you live here, hey, it might be, you get off work a little early one day, or, the schedules for the family all work out and you've got some time. It's like, hey, let's run to the beach. And,
Yep.
not to rub it in for those who don't have the blessing of living close to the beach, but that is one of the huge benefits, that we can just hop in the car and drive down to the beach. But to do that, got to have that beach bag ready, right? And it's sitting there. It's got the stuff that you need. And I'll go through some of these fairly quickly. I'm assuming they're pretty obvious to a lot of our listeners. But sunscreen. I can't tell you enough. I have family that come down from Ohio. They like to come in early in the season, and they're very pale when they come down, and they
Yep.
get burned. I have had my nephew's family come down, and
Yes.
I told them. But sunscreen is so incredibly important, especially if you're not used to the sun, and you
Exactly.
want something that's at least 30 SPF. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're playing, you're running around, you're having a beach day, you're there for a few hours. You got to put it on every couple hours. That's something
Yes,
people forget.
you have to. And I'm so happy you pointed that out. And I'm also happy you pointed out about the pale skin, because, that's part of me. If everyone doesn't know, I am half American. So my father's side, when he decided to come visit, and he thought, you know what? We used to live in Miami. I'm used to the Florida sun. That he was not, because he became so red. And yet that's why it's really important. And I'll tell you what, there's times when I put on sunscreen and I'm thinking, oh, I've reached everywhere, and there's literally like a handprint on the back of my shoulder, because that's as far as I was able to reach. So it's important to be able to apply. And then also your feet. I tell you what, my dad thought that he didn't need to do his
Oh,
feet, and talk of like lobsters. Like, it was really, and if you get a really bad sunburn, they can be extremely, extremely painful. So that's why you really want to make sure that you just take that extra 10 minutes to make sure you fully apply anything that will be exposed to the sun. And this is what's important, because not a lot of people know this or understand, is when they hear sunscreen, they think, oh, it's for the sun. And they're like, oh, the forecast says it's going to be a cloudy day. No, those cloudy days, those UV rays will penetrate even more on a cloudy day.
and that's a great point. The worst burns I've ever got in my life have been on cloudy days, because you don't feel that
Exactly.
sun. Believe me, when you start to feel a sunburn, it's too late.
It
That's
is too late.
you
It's
are
too late.
already a lobster. You better put your shirt on. And that's another thing. Anymore, I guess because I'm older, I don't keep a tan, for whatever reason. So I have long sleeve shirts that are light and airy. This is actually one of my favorite beach shirts that
Yep.
I wear. Light cotton, kind of a light
Mhm.
color. But it's just like at certain points, I don't try to worry about getting a tan anymore. I just kind of
Right.
go ahead and put on heavier clothes when I'm out of the water, or long sleeve clothes, just to protect myself. And of course, that goes into our next list. sunglasses, you want to make sure that there's
Mhm.
UV protection on
Yes.
the sunglasses, because it really can damage your eyes. And some of these cheap
Mhm.
sunglasses, I think there's a song like that, right? Cheap wearing those cheap sunglasses. But those cheap sunglasses can be dangerous because they actually kind of open up your eyes and allow for more light to come in. But without that UV protection, you're really damaging it. So don't get the cheap sunglasses, or to at least make sure they have plenty of UV protection. Always wear a hat. I gotta wear a hat.
Mhm.
I knew I was in trouble when my wife started asking me to lower my head so she could put suntan lotion on the back of my head because I'm losing my hair, and it made me cry. But
Yeah.
I was thankful that she did that, because that's it's another thing. And I tend to wear a hat now when I'm at the beach.
No, I'm
Anyway,
happy you said that
yeah,
because not a lot of people really understand, especially, and I just, me being in the healthcare industry, me being our, the nurse I am, I just wanted to let our viewers know that it's important to, do these precautions because, with the sun, skin cancer is a big thing. So you want to make sure you put those sunscreen on. And what I wanted to point out too is that some people think, oh, I'm going to spray myself real quick and now I'm jumping into the water. No, you want to let it give it time to settle into your skin, at least 10-15 minutes, especially for the kids. What I normally do, so anyone with families or children, I put the sunscreen on before we leave the house.
yeah.
That way it gives time to penetrate and dry, because I know by the time we get to that beach and I'm settling in, these kids, they want to be sprayed down and they're instantly jumping into the water. So, and then it just washes off. So it loses the effect of it. So it's important to make sure you're applying, giving it at least 10-15 minutes to dry. But the hat thing is what I wanted to make mention of. A lot of people know that you can actually get skin cancer, melanoma in your scalp, especially, like if you're a male, like, Brother Jim, or, like Ka Eric, and you might have some spots that are more exposed to the sun. It can really damage, and you wouldn't even know, because who really goes around checking their scalp? So so that's why it's important to really take these steps and precautions. We want everyone to have a fun time at the beach, but we want everyone to stay safe.
That
Okay.
absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. And along the same line, of course, you probably want to have a comfortable beach towel, but make sure you hydrate. Lots of water. You
Yes,
don't realize,
please.
especially the kids. I had
Yes.
a friend tell me, she had 3 kids, and she was like, I was asking her for advice before Luke was born. I was like, what do you recommend? She's like, when the kids are cranky, give them some water. Night kids, making kids stop to drink water, they will get dehydrated and they'll get
Yes.
tired and cranky. And it's amazing. And frankly, adults can be the same way. You don't realize
Mhm.
when you're out in the sun, you're perspiring, you're losing so much moisture. But yeah, get you some good water bottles. They've had some really cool ones now. I've got one that will hold ice all day long.
Yes.
I'm
Those
so
are the best ones.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, those are the best ones. Just so you can stay hydrated. And then also on that note, mentioning about, because if it's on a sunny day, you're perspiring, the kids are running around, playing in the sand, like my little ones, the girls love to chase birds. So it's like all of that thing, you're sweating, and you don't realize, how the sun can really physically affect you. It can, like, after a beach day, I'm exhausted. And so it's important, like Brother Jim said, to make sure you're staying hydrated. And you can use little things like, IV hydration, Gatorade, Powerade, all of those things that can replenish everything that you sweated out. Yep. So that's important. And snacks too. Snacks, because if your
yeah.
blood sugar drops, you need something. Like you said, cranky kids. I mean, you don't have to go with a full course meal, but I know,
Oh,
some of our friends are,
we
they
really
do.
good.
There's like
We
rice.
here on INC Radio Florida, we love to talk about food. So I got a whole slide dedicated to that. We'll get into that, but I kind of mentioned it. Um, Umbrellas or tents, and here's
Yes.
something to think of. I gotta talk about the kids getting tired. They have these great tents now that you can buy. They're
Mhm.
really inexpensive beach tent, and I've got one I love. It just pops out. It's like I take it out of the bag and I just set it down. It's like a little dome,
Yeah.
and it's perfect. And when people get kind of exhausted, where they want to take a break, whether it's the parents or the kids, you can go in there and just kind of take a little nap. And
Yep.
it's just so relaxing, hearing that water rush and stuff. I love that little tent. Uh, Something to think about too. These beach tents, get the shorter ones. It actually, like in Clearwater Beach, where you're close to Tampa, where Brother Rob and Sister Audrey are, they have limits to how high the tents can be. So,
Oh,
the some of those shorter tents, I don't think we have those restrictions in Pensacola, but I do know down there they do, because that's when I first bought it. We were going there, but having that, obviously having like an umbrella or something, it's going to be really windy. I don't know if you've seen those new, a lot of tents, unless you've got a good anchor, you're going to watch tents, go downtown Pensacola
yeah.
on the beach. They're going to take
They're
air
going to be
and they're
flying.
going to be in the
Just
bay.
tumble like a
Yeah,
tumbleweed.
right. Again, isn't that pretty, right? But very
Yeah.
not functional. So when you're looking for something like an umbrella, make sure it has a really good anchor. Our sand,
Hmm.
especially here, our beautiful white sand, and it's kind of loose sand, so it doesn't really pack down. So you need one of those big like corkscrew anchors if you have an umbrella.
Right.
But what they have now, and I think it's so ingenious, where it's just a rod, and it's basically like a giant flag. It's like a loose tent, and they put
Oh,
down
yes.
this huge hoop, and it has this long, and there's nothing holding it other than these two rods stuck deep
Yeah.
into the sand, and the roof, for lack of a better word, just kind of flaps, right?
Yeah.
And it catches
Yeah.
the wind, and people just adjust it, because there's usually that steady wind coming off the ocean, which, by the way, always middle of July when it's really hot inland, that's another reason, go to the beach. So
Yes, because it's breezy. So yes, what he said, you could definitely umbrellas or the tents. I even wanted to make mention, when we first moved here, me and Brother Eric, we actually got canopy, like the canopy that you would use, like the gazebo type of canopies.
right.
Those are actually really great too, especially if you have, you're going with like a crowd, family or friends. Just don't go by yourself with the canopy. Otherwise, you're gonna have a difficult time trying to put it by yourself. That's a
Fighting it back and forth, back
yeah,
and forth. That's a two-person job. There's no doubt about
definitely.
it. And obviously, you want to have some sandals. You want something to slip on and slip off. And for the kids too, because that sand can
Yes,
get really hot sometimes,
it
especially
can.
as you're walking out to the beach. It's hard on those little toes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, the book, magazine, and it's always good to have a first aid kit. You don't have
Yes.
to have a giant setup,
Mhm.
but just having some waterproof band-aids, just having some,
Mhm.
antibiotics, and of course, I'm sure you know more exactly what they have, Sister
I
Cherie.
do. I
But it's
I do. I have like a beach specific, first aid kit that I keep, and in my beach bag, like what Brother Jim said. And I actually keep, and this might sound funny to some people, but at the beach, there are, organisms in there, and primary one is jellyfish, and not a lot of people are aware of that. And so the one thing that really helps against a jellyfish sting, because good god, they burn and it
yeah,
hurts.
yeah,
So vinegar actually on a jellyfish
that's so
sting really
smart.
helps.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so
And
smart.
so I pack it like a little one in like a spray bottle.
Uh-huh.
And then that way, if the kids get it, because the thing too is you're like, well, there's no jellyfish. I don't see any, but they shed, jellyfish do. And when they shed, the things that they shed can kind of leave in the water, and then you might feel like, oh my gosh, I got stung, but there's no jellyfish around. That's what that is. And if it becomes really irritating, just the vinegar on it, and it really helps. But I also wanted to point out too, is not a lot of people know this trade secret. I don't know about you,
I
Brother
didn't know
Jim,
the vinegar one, so I'm all ears.
but baby powder. Baby powder is what I pack. And here's the funny thing why, is because if, like, let's say you're getting ready to leave, right? You're getting ready to leave, you don't want all that sand to get in your car, there's sand all over your feet. I normally keep baby powder in the trunk of my car, and before the kids get in, we are just like squishing it out all over the kids body, because it will loosen the sand from the skin, and then there's no more sand. It's crazy how it works. It's like magic, like, it's just, so baby powder really helps to get sand off of
Wait,
skin.
that I'm so glad I tuned into INC Radio today. I
That's
didn't know
interesting.
that, but you know, that's genius. I mean, the vinegar is genius. The baby powder is genius. Thank you, Sister Cherise, because I'm doing
You're
the baby
welcome.
because it is. That's the one thing about living in Florida. is, you start to appreciate good car vacuums, right?
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to stop there because they got a good car vacuum. And I ended up finally
Right.
buying a big shop vac because it's a lot of sand. It's a
It's
lot
a
of
lot of
sand.
sand.
And it gets everywhere, right? But those are two great
Hmm.
things. Vinegar, I'm doing that. I'm doing it right after the show. I'm going to go ahead and redo my bag. So obviously, you got your bag there, you're all set, you get in and you're ready to have fun. And
Yep.
I have always loved making sandcastles. I like to do it. And of course, I love to swim. But, the other things like, nothing better than playing frisbee. If you got a gang of people playing volleyball, the
Hmm.
older I get, the more people I need to play volleyball with me. I guess I can't do it just with like I used to. And go and just going for a walk
Hmm.
is so nice. And I love going fishing. There's a
Yes.
lot of great ways you can fish from the beach. It's like this time of year, pompanos, they're coming in. It's a great, delicious fish. And
Yes.
it's right by. They come in a little close. They like this just being off of a sandbank. So it's like perfect from the beach to cast out or walk out
Hmm.
into it and do a little fishing. But and then just beach combing. I mean, I just love the cool things you find
I
on the
know.
beach.
I love looking for seashells. That's my favorite thing to do, is looking for beautiful different types of shells. I love to do that. Yeah.
We have these. We're on the Gulf of
Hmm.
Mexico here in Pensacola, and but we have a lot of what they call sounds. We're like bays,
Yep.
and these sounds, the water tends to be fairly shallow, and it's a great place for crabs, hermit crabs, and all kinds of little things that you can pick up and let the kids have a field day with. Luke loves catching hermit crabs on the sound. Uh,
Yes, that's so much fun.
that's one of the. So got to be talking about snacks, right?
Hmm.
Love all the great snacks, and it's like the number one to me is like fruits, and it goes back to what we
Yes.
were talking about, staying hydrated, right?
And the sugar content helps too. So that, yes, fruits are great snack. Trail mix too. I see brother Jim added that. That's perfect. Yogurt is great. Make sure that you have a cooler though, because you don't want it to spoil. But yeah, cheese and crackers, cookies, these are all excellent snacks to go for the beach. Anything that you might enjoy as a snack at home is always something great to enjoy, out there. And then make sure you pack in your if you're gonna pack snacks, also make sure you pack, baby wipes, or like a little tiny trash bag to like put your trash in, because you want your beach to stay clean. The way you come to it is the way you want to leave it. So make sure that you're cleaning up after you. But yes, baby wipes, hand sanitizers. Oh, here's a trick for everyone. What I do in this, what I do actually to help with this, because if you have little kids and they're loving playing in the sand and you're trying to give them lunch or snacks, I will get a pail of water and I'll go, over to the water. I'll dump it in, and this is actually the water that I'll use to be able to clean the hands with. Like they got sand all over, they're dumping and they're cleaning off their hands. And then that way they're not digging in a bag of chips with sandy hands and now they're just they're eating sandy chips or anything like that. So that's another trick that I use. I hope that works for everyone. But yeah, that's perfect. But I wanted to mention too, it's just, for me, it's just safety really for the beach. And I know one of the activities on the other slide was like sandcastles, but also please make sure that some kids, they love to be adventurous and start digging holes. I know my kids do, but just be careful, because there have been a couple of times where like they dug a hole way too deep, and like the sand, it's sand, and it collapsed in, so some kids were getting trapped in there. So
Oh
just
no.
just be mindful of that, because you want to have a fun time at the beach. Also, a thing I wanted to make mention of is, if you're going to swim and enjoy everything, make sure if you're able to be able to go near someone like a lifeguard, especially if you're not a really great swimmer. Make sure that you pack like the little life vest swimming things for your children. Rafts are really good. If it's too wavy, don't go out too far. And also, really, there's videos on YouTube on how to identify riptides. If you're coming to visit us in the Gulf Coast, riptides tides are a big thing, and people who are not aware of them, they think, oh, there's no waves right here in the center of this beach. This is where we're going to go.
It'll
No.
suck
Yeah,
you out
it will.
before you know it. And we actually have, if you see the flags, and if you don't know for some
Yes.
reason, they do great. They post the flags. If it's a green
Mhm.
flag, that means, hey, it should be a safe day. No worries.
It's
Obviously,
nice and
follow the
calm.
precaution.
Yep.
But yellow gets into, you might get some riptides. You might see some other things. Red is
No.
riptide. Yeah, you
No.
should definitely not let the youngsters get out in the water. You know, maybe they
Yep.
can splash right along, but stay with them, like you said. Great point. And then, getting into the jellyfish. If it's purple, a purple flag means
Purple.
stinging. There's probably jellyfish out there, and there's times that
Yep.
just I made the mistake of diving in, me and my wife, and we were swimming around. And it's just like, and next thing you know,
Yep.
you it's like, okay, I'm going to respect that
They're
purple
there.
from here on out.
Yep.
The purple don't go. But hey, we're at the bottom of the hour already, Sister Sheree. I wish I would have taken notes because I'm gonna go back and watch some of the because you had great tips. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And thank you all so much. You can see my son trying to appear in the back of me. But thank you all so much for joining us today. We're so grateful. We hope you tune in next week. And coming up after us is INC Radio Caribbean. And of course, they've got pretty good beaches too, I guess. So, but they do. They have wonderful beaches. So great to see you all. And for me and Sister Therese here in Pensacola, have a wonderful weekend and tune in next week. Thank you.